Hello there, my lovely darkling. It's your Glamour Goal Guide to Self-Mastery back with another video. And today I want to talk about divine embodiment, especially since we are in our self-assured and unbothered era. It is great for us to inhabit the traits and qualities in order to get there. And you can't do that without embodiment. And really, embodiment or even divine embodiment is just a fancy phrase for identity shifting. And in this field, with consciousness, self-mastery, personal growth, all those types of things, we always talk about identity shifting. But what does that even mean? Like, what identity shifting, like, how does that even go together? So, especially when it comes to divine embodiment, it is being very intentional and clear on who you want to be, as long as it aligns with your authentic self. And when you shift identities, you are outgrowing or you are eliminating or discarding all of the traits, the qualities, the characteristics of the version of yourself that you don't want to be anymore. So it really does come down to, when it comes to divine embodiment and identity shifting, choosing who you want to be at every moment, because you get to decide. It doesn't matter what other people have projected onto you. It doesn't matter about your upbringing or your conditioning. It doesn't even matter of your past traumas or who you think you should be based on what has happened to you. Because your past does not define you. Your past has just enriched you of being the person you are today. And because of what you learned about yourself through the world, through your traumas, through your upbringing, through your conditioning, you know what you do want and you know what you do not want. You know what feels good to you. You know what feels right to you. You know what your truth is. You know what lights you up inside. You know what makes you feel alive. And that is where you intentionally choose and you become more clear on how you want to carry on your life through that. Carry out your days, your activities, your dreams, the things you want to see, the things you want to materialize in your life. Based on that clarity of who you want to be, based on that clarity of the traits, the qualities of things that feel authentic for you, the things that feel authentically aligned with you, you try on those traits for size and you become that person right now. And so yeah, once again, it comes first on clarity. You have to be very clear. You have to be very aware and mindful of what traits you want to be based on what feels authentically right for you. So who do you want to be? What does that person look like? What does that person sound like, smell like, act like, dress like, eat like? I mentioned this in my Magical Monday newsletter of the other day to my Shadow Work Club email list. If you haven't signed up already, make sure you do that at madamemystiquenoire.com. And I did a whole run through of what does that actually mean. And it's personal for you. It is personal for you. So really consider that right now. Write it down on a piece of paper. Mentally note it. Write it on your notes app on your phone. What makes you feel like you? If you were to move past all the titles, all of the labels, all of the traits that people have put on you, or your authority figures, your peers, your guardians, your parents, your family, anyone, what does that feel for you? Do you want to be, once again, self-assured and unbothered? Does that person go to the gym all the time? Does that person eat more vegetables? Does that person drink water more? Does that person paint more? Does that person like to write? Does that person want to write a book? What does that person want to do? What ambitions does this person have? Because once again, this is not a far-fetched version of you. This is not someone who is projected too far into the future. That person is within you right now. That's what divine embodiment means. It is not just trying to inhibit the qualities or inhabit the qualities of your God self, your goddess self. Yes, that is true. You are becoming the person that already exists in the ether somewhere in the universe. You are becoming the person that you thought was impossible to become because of your upbringing, your conditioning, your fears, your limitations. that the outgrown person had. Not you now, because I see you as capable. I see you as powerful. I see you as limitless. So I'm always going to assume that you are that person right now, as should you, darling. You are that person right now. Because as far as quantum physics is concerned, every version of you that could ever exist does right now. You get to choose based on your frequency, obviously, but your frequency is depending on the actions you decide to take, the mindset you decide to embody, the qualities you decide to embody, the lifestyle you decide to embody. You are that person right now. As many as all the parallel universes that exist, what makes this one the most real? What makes this one the most real? Because we collectively choose, we collectively decide that it's real. So because of that, you get to individually choose what is real for you. Regardless of what your titles are, regardless of what people have put on you trait-wise, and regardless of what your past has told you about yourself, you get to decide. There's an infinite amount of versions of you. All you have to do is bring the higher down to the lower. Use your mind's eye to be very clear on what that looks like for you. Use your emotional state to magnetize that to you based on feeling like that person right now. That's the thing too. I would say, first of all, number one is having that clarity on the traits that will make you feel more alive, that makes you feel like you're being your full authentic self. And number two is using your mind and your heart, your visual and your heart center, your emotions, your feelings, to call it out to you and then magnetize it to you. So once you already know the traits, you already know that you need to drink more water, you need to go to the gym, you need to pray more, meditate more, you need to call your friends more and talk to your family more. Whatever those traits are, being confident, being the person who just does the damn thing, regardless of what people say, whatever those are, you need to try that on for size. You need to be that person now. Write it, practice it like it's a play, because you are an actor, an actress in a play called life. So you need to be that actor and actress, and as much as it may feel weird, everything feels weird. Everything feels strange until it becomes normalized. Normalize that within your experience, because once again, you get to decide. And you also can, once again, call it out and magnetize it towards you with that clarity through constantly visualizing it. You don't have to make it a grueling process. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes every hour. It could just be being in tune with that person. You are that person right now, because at the end of the day, we are the observer. We are being channeled by an ancient entity. We're being channeled by our higher self right now as I speak, as you watch. And that is the observer. You are not just your flesh, which you are in a lot of ways, but you are also the observer, the higher self that is being channeled through you, the God self, the goddess self that is being channeled through you in order to experience the physical realm. So you want to connect with that version of yourself spiritually, quantumly, through your mind. And your mind is not just your brain. It's not just your thinking. It is, looking through your mind's eye. It is connecting to that mental plane of imagination, of visualization, of daydreaming, of fantasizing. Because if you can see it in your mind's eye, if you can see it in the mental plane, in your imagination, it is even more real than it can be even in the physical realm. You can't imagine something that cannot happen for you. Because when you're imagining something, you are connecting to that version of you in the ether. You are in direct communication. It's almost like you're remembering the future. You're remembering something that has not happened for you yet. And if you've seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, enough said. If you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend it. Or even Rick and Morty. Those are examples I like to use a lot when it comes to the mind-boggling, confusing, infinite, weird, strange, uncomfortable, but empowering at the same time workings of the universe that we'll never be able to truly understand with our human brains. Either way, I digress. Use your mind's eye to visualize who that person is, because you're connecting to them in the ether. You're in direct communication with them. You're like, you know what? I have a clear picture of what this could look like for me. However, I am completely open to whatever source, divine, has in store for me, because source always knows better. Source is directing you to that visualization, but there can always be better. There's always more. Yes, that version of you may be doing the damn thing and having it all, but maybe that person has it all with a twist of something that is more of a call for you, that feels more authentic, that you'll find out later on. And that's why it's so important to trust in the divine order and chaos of life. Trust and have that deep faith in knowing that everything is working out in your favor, even when it feels terrible. And moving on to the other part of your calling in and magnetizing, your manifesting, as a lot of people call it, is your feeling state. We like to think that it's just the mind, like we have to say our affirmations, it's just the visualization, you know, all that type of stuff. Very, very valid techniques that I always like to use, especially when it comes to shadow work. And you become clear on who you want to be with your divine embodiment through shadow work, through your shadow work practice, but you're using your feeling state, you're using your heart center. Using your mind and your heart in conjunction with everything you do will never lead you astray, because you're able to use the logic, the reasoning, the knowing how to play the game of life based on what you've learned to navigate things in the physical world, you know, using your limbs, using your arms and legs to be able to go out into the world and once again play the game of life. But you're using your heart, you're using it's in direct communication with your soul. It is letting you be guided and letting you lead with love, unconditional love, compassion, wisdom, acceptance, understanding, empathy. So those are two very important things. And of course, all the flavors on the spectrum of those things. But you're using that to be very, very easily, gracefully, peacefully guided upon this plane. So you're being able to be authentic, but also be your own security guard at the same time. And when you're using your heart, your feelings, your emotions to connect with that thing, it's not just being like, yes, I am happy, yay. It's not even that. It is feeling the feelings. How would it feel like? We're talking about what it would look like, how the person would act like, how the person would smell like. How would the person feel like? How would it feel like if you had that career? How would it feel like if you had that relationship or marriage? How would it feel like if you had that body? How would it feel like if you had those group of friends in that amazing dynamic family system? How would it feel like? How would it feel like? How would it feel like? And once again, it comes back to clarity. But you can tap into those emotions at any time. A lot of times we feel like we're stuck and we're doomed to feeling like crap all the time because of our past conditioning, because the version of ourselves that we have outgrown, because we are self-aware, conscious, mindful beings here who are always on the path to ascension. When we outgrow that past version of ourselves, we'll realize there's a whole other set of emotions, character traits, experiences that we'll be able to have, that we'll be able to have the opportunity to experience. And we have to get out of that frequency. We have to get out of that version of ourselves, like almost like molting your skin like a crab or a snake or a hermit crab or anything, any being. We're always shedding skin. Every 7 years, we completely renew our skin cell, our regeneration. We're a new person like every day, every second, really, quantumly. But even physically, we're new people all the time. So we need to make sure that we outgrow that past version of ourselves that believes that we can't have different experiences and that have those limitations, because we're constantly doing that every second and every minute anyway, especially with our shadow work and divine embodiment practice. But when we feel those feelings, we are not only just jumping also spiritually and quantumly to the person that we already are, but we're not waiting for that experience to be materialized here in the physical plane in order for us to feel amazing. We do not have to wait for things to materialize in order for it to feel incredible. We do not have to wait for things to manifest in order for us to be happy, to be joyful, to be peaceful, to feel bliss, to feel ecstasy. We have those emotions, those sensations, those feelings within our body already, and we can call on them at any time. It doesn't matter if we're feeling bleh. It doesn't matter if we're feeling negative. Of course, we need to move past those feelings and not run away from them and let it be released from our nervous system. But we can feel great at any time we wish. Of course, it's going to be harder to do that, especially when you're not in the best state of your life. But that is something that's ever changing. Emotions come and go. Feelings come and go. And whenever we're noticing that we're feeling so identified, so stuck, so like we have no choice but to feel these horrible feelings and these emotions are swimming in my body. Oh my God, I constantly feel this way. I constantly feel that way. Of course, that is where we need professional help. You know, seek the help you need when it comes to that. Talk it out to yourself on your voice notes app like I do on my phone. Write it out in a journal. Talk to a trusted individual, a trusted friend or family member. But we're not doomed to feeling like crap all the time. I trust you know that, dear. I trust you know that. We can call on those amazing emotions at any time because they already exist. So you're not waiting for that event to happen in order for you to feel incredible. You feel incredible right now because you can. Because that person feels incredible all the time because of the traits that they've embodied. The opportunities that they've received because of the traits that they've embodied. The amazing experiences that they have called in and manifested because of these qualities that they've embodied. So once again, divine embodiment is all about being your most desired version and reaching your highest potential. And you're not waiting for things to once again materialize in order for you to be that person. You're not waiting for all the confirmation in the world, in your external world, in order for you to be that person now. You get to decide, you get to choose. Once you are clear on what that feels like for you, especially when it comes to your truth, being authentic. Once you use your visualization, you use your mind's eye to connect with that person in the ether, in the quantum universe. Once you are using your feeling state to call it in and magnetize it, because you do not have to wait to feel good until then. But also, you realize that with the divine embodiment, and once again, in the phrase itself, divine embodiment, the embodiment part is the identity shifting part, which we've talked about already, and we'll talk more about in future videos. But the divine part, the infiniteness of that, the infinity of that, the limitlessness of that, the fearlessness of that, the expansive aspect of that, that just means that you are ever changing and ever growing. Even now, I'm changed by making this video. I probably learned something about myself. You're ever changing and ever growing. So you realize that that person already exists right now. And that thing already exists in the ether somewhere. We just can't see it because everything is metaphysical. We only see like 1%, maybe even barely 1% that this universe has to offer. So you are recognizing, acknowledging, and understanding, even if it sounds weird, because the universe is weird, which is a beautiful thing. You understand that it already exists for you. You can have it. You can have it. It already is right here, right now, even if you can't see it or feel it with your human senses. You trust it. You have faith in the divine order and chaos of life, knowing that you are able, you are capable, you are powerful enough to have it materialize here in the physical plane. So yes, once again, my lovely darklings, you get to decide who you are. You just need to be clear. You need to use the added benefits of being a human, of using your mind and your heart in conjunction. And you need to trust in the divine order and chaos of life because you are already that person right now. Just allow it and be it until you see it. And also, speaking of this, I have a little mini announcement. So I have a very exciting ebook that is coming up very, very soon. It is a guided meditation course where you get to balance all of your chakras, balance all of your energy centers, so you can have that unshakable confidence and faith that you always wanted as a self-assured and unbothered being, but you never thought you could become. So more info coming up very soon about that. Oh, I can't wait to share this with you, all my lovely darklings. So now we've reached the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. So let me know, are you into guided meditations at all? I love doing them, so I have a feeling that you are too. And also, who do you want to be? Who is the person that makes you feel so authentically alive? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Much love, and until next time, my lovely darkling. Bye-bye.